Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the February 14th, 2023 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are glad you're with us, and for those watching online, we're glad you're joining us as well. We will begin, as we always do, with an invocation, and joining us is Reverend Eric Fannin from Grace Point Church, who will lead us in prayer. Eric?
Let's pray. Our gracious God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, we come to you today and we want to thank you for the many blessings and the great beauty you've given to us here in Henderson County. Father, we want to thank you for loving us in such a way that you would send your Son Jesus to die for us, that you would raise him from the grave for our eternal life. Father, on this Valentine's Day, we want to thank you for the gift of romance and marriage and children, and ask that you would help us to steward those gifts well according to your word. Father, I thank you for these leaders who are before us. Father, I thank you for the work that they have done. I ask that you would bless them. Father, that you would give them wisdom from your throne, that they would be able to lead our community and continue to do so in righteousness and in truth. Father, please bless this session and this time. We ask that your will would be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend. Appreciate it. Please come back. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Magistrate Tompkins.
Here.
Magistrate Southard.
Here.
Magistrate Starks.
Here.
Magistrate Berry.
Here.
It is a Judge's Scholar time once again, and I'm sorry, before we go that far. You have in your packets, gentlemen, the minutes of January 24th, 2023 regular fiscal court meeting and the February 3rd, 2023 special called meeting. After a period of review, I entertain a motion to approve those.
Move to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any of the corrections, clarifications, additions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, Judge's Scholar with us from Jefferson Elementary School, Angela Dieguez Miguel. And Angela, would you meet me right up here, please? Special proclamation of your...
I hope I do your name right. Whereas Angela Dieguez Miguel has been chosen by Jefferson Elementary School to be the recipient of the Judge's Scholar Award for exceptional efforts in both academics and school activities. And whereas Angela's hard work and dedication in making the most of educational experiences and developing positive relationships with teachers and other students will lead to future success. And whereas success is measured in many different ways, whether it be passing a test, scoring the winning point, achieving a particular goal, or taking the necessary steps for overall improvement, and whereas the Henderson County school system could not let Angela's efforts go unnoticed, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court supports the school system and acknowledges these accomplishments as being significant because students such as Angela Diaz Miguel will be our future leaders. And now therefore, I, Brad Schneider, County Judge Executive of Henderson, join with the Henderson County Fiscal Court to proclaim today, February 14th, 2023, as Angela Dieguez Miguel Day in Henderson County.
We're not scared of you.
Hey, your mother would. Or you'd be sitting here and just. Congratulations, Angela, and now you are in the seat of honor. Up here with a good friend, Steve, who will probably be coaching you through the meeting, let you know what's going on. And our last Judges Scholar voted on every motion, which was kind of neat. Feel free to do the same, but if you're going to vote no, let him know in advance. Surprise me. But congratulations, glad you're with us. Congratulations to the family. I know you're proud, and to the schools. Thanks for helping us continue this tradition. I think it's really neat. Okay, moving on. Here we go, Angela. Here we go. I think you have each had the chance to review Planning Commission recommendation case number 1139. This deals with the placement of 2 testing towers. No. Okay, sorry. Well, anyway, case number 1139, and without further review, we will move on. Appointment to the Tourist Commission. Mark Keelan and Krista McGann have vacated their seats on the Tourist Commission for job purposes. And so to replace them, after consulting with the Tourist Commission, proposing to place Casey Todd, owner of Hometown Roots, and David Miller, who is the new executive director of the Audubon State Park, and appoint those to the Tourist Commission. I don't know if we need a vote on that, but I wanted to let you know it's my appointment. But I mean, unless you have any other objections or suggestions, I think those are 2 very appropriate appointments. So Casey Todd and David Miller will be joining the Tourist Commission. They have an opening on the District Water Board. Mike Skaggs has resigned after decades of being on the Water Board, and it is our appointment. And I consulted with Pete Conrad, and we vetted through 3 names, and Bruce Eblin, a farmer in Henderson County, and also a city resident, ironically, but also does a lot of farming in Henderson County, has agreed to serve, and Pete Conrad has agreed with that. And if you know Bruce, he is very opinionated about water and wants to dig into this, and I gave him the opportunity after all these years. So,
Thank you.
I'd like to appoint, with your permission, Bruce Eblin, and I'll entertain a motion to appoint Bruce.
So moved. Second.
Motion a second, appointing Bruce Eblin to the Water Board. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Got a couple bid openings. First, for the boiler replacement at the Judicial Center. For those new, you might realize or understand that the Judicial Center has been an ongoing challenge since it was built, almost from the first day it opens its doors. We have constantly had to repair, replace, nurture along its HVAC systems especially. And I think there are 2 boilers there. One is needing to be replaced, so we put this out for bid. And we're still under the umbrella of the AOC for these fixes, and they reimburse us once we prove to them it's worthy. So these numbers may be high, but it's actually being funded by the state.
Okay.
Okay. We received 2 sealed bids for these. First bid I have is from Harold Fish Incorporated. And their bid is $122,050. Okay. The other bid we have is from Thermal Service LLC. And their bid price is $139,230.
We will take these under advisement, work with James Bosler, review them, and bring a recommendation back next fiscal. So. Any other questions about that? Next, we have a bid opening for fuel for the road department.
All right, first one we have is from Home. Okay, they have a they did off a margin from the price per gallon. They put in looks like 4 cents is a bidder margin over the wholesale price after they added in taxes. So their bid is 4 cents over market price. And the next one is Heritage. All right, they did 4.5 cents over bidder for their margin. So they have federal tax, the Kentucky tax, the less tax, and the environmental tax, and then what they bidded on was their bidder margin. They went, and then so Heritage went 4.5 cents over the wholesale price, and Home went 4 cents over. So I got all y'all copies here if you all.
Nick, do you want to go ahead and just review that and bring
Yep,
it back?
yep.
Or, if you feel, after making sure it's apples to apples, give us some
Absolutely.
recommendation. Okay.
Absolutely. So I'll look at that, put that in a review.
But while you're up there, go to the next item on the agenda, the resolution for bridge on Hatchet Mill Road. And it's part of the 80-20 program. You want to
Yes.
explain that briefly?
So the way the 80-20 works with the highway department is they allow counties to partner with them on bridges that need replacing. It used to be they would pay 80% of the price, the county would pay 20% of the price. But as the needs in the county has went up, throughout the states went up, they have now capped that at $80,000. So I reviewed all the inspection reports from KYTC. Does all of our bridges that are 20 feet 1 inch and greater, and I reviewed those with Tyler Gold in the second week of January, and went through all the bridges, find out what ones needed work that we could do, which ones looked like they need to be replaced. Hatchet Mill was the number one candidate that needed replacing. It's starting to have scour on the west abutment, and its capacity is small for that creek it serves. So it definitely, the skew's off. So we need to realign the skew, work on the toe walls, and then we need to work on the outfall. So that is a bridge we need to look at replacing. And so I put this in through the rural roads, and they accepted our proposal to partner with us for $80,000 from our contracted cost.
What's the total cost going to be, you think?
The total cost I got to estimate at $215. It's a longer bridge because you've got right now it's a concrete culvert. So the thing is this one's a stretch. Bill did real good with the bridges, except the next three he left me with are high dollars. It's, it falls on us, but we can do it, so.
And we have budget for,
Absolutely, yep. So this is all part of the budget, and then with $80,000 now, it will bring our cost down to, around 130, which is on average about what he would be 50-50 on cost, before with the other bridges. So we're looking about 120, 125 is our cost out of pocket.
What's the span of that one, Nick?
Right now, it's 24 feet, but it needs to be extended to about 46 because of the skew is awful.
Needs to be extended 46 feet?
No, it need 46 feet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because right now that's presents the problem with the scour is the way the flow upstream comes in. It's just beat on the outside toe, and once you lose your toe of your bridge, obviously you have problems. So that's the only way we can do it by changing skew, dropping back on inner abutments, so that way it opens the channel.
Nick, can we do 2 of these a year?
You can do well. We are.
I'm-
We're doing Burbank just by using aluminum box culverts. You can, because we can do a lot of work ourselves. They're essentially assembled by Contact, and then we put them in ourselves. But depending on how big the bridges are, I don't think we'll build it. Next couple bridges that are slated to be replaced, it'll be one a year, just because the cost is so.
60 footers?
Yes, one of them's 125 foot.
Whoa. What's that on Rocks Road? 60?
Nope, the Green River Road, the Ohio River is the 2 big ones that are next to be, looks like they need to be replaced. So, I mean, we're in good condition with a lot of our bridges. I mean, these are, we're ahead of the curve, nothing's catastrophic, closures or anything. So we've got a lot of work we can do with our crews to shore up some of these bridges, so it'll help us in the long run.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Yep,
So do you do this? Do you lay out the skew and all that on it? That's
absolutely. Yep.
One more question. The 80-20 program. So that's just 80,000 regardless of the price of the total project?
It's got to be, they do 80% up to 80 grand.
Up to
So
80,000.
if you had a bridge, like for example, Burbank total cost for us after we buy the culvert itself and insulation, I've got average about 64,000. They would only give us 80% of that money back. So that one we're going to do with our own budget, and then obviously the Hatchet Mill would be the better bang for the buck, because it'll give us $80,000.
I just wanted to
80%.
make sure that we were applying it in the right spot. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
absolutely.
I've reviewed the memorandum of agreement, and it's approved as the form and legality. There's some engineering stuff in there that I'll defer to Nick on. 'Cause I went to law school because I didn't like math.
Got it.
And Nick, I was just going to ask, does this help the farmers in that area with having a wider span, I would guess?
Everything we do help out farmers. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it will. I mean, it's also on the cusp of being as narrow as it can. It's got doesn't have any shoulders, obviously, in the construction that was done. So I think it's a 57 era bridge. So it'll definitely help, because we're going to widen that thing out, give us a 2 or 3 foot shoulders on both sides, kind of match the layout of the road in that area. So.
Well, thanks for engineering it in a way that we're looking forward to the future and making our roads safe, as safe as they can be.
any more questions? You've heard the county attorney's judgment as to form and legality, and I'll have the clerk read the resolution.
Resolution adopting and approving the execution of a rural secondary program agreement between the Fiscal Court and Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet Department of Rural and Municipal Aid, and accepting all roads and streets referred to therein as part of the county road system. Be resolved by the Fiscal Court that the Fiscal Court does hereby certify that all roads and streets referred to in said agreement are county roads as defined in KRS 178.010 1B, And the fiscal court does hereby ratify and adopt all statements, representations, warranties, covenants, and agreements contained in said agreement, and does hereby accept said agreement, and by such acceptance agrees to all the terms and conditions therein stated. And the county judge executive of the county is hereby authorized and directed to sign said agreement as set forth on behalf of the fiscal court of Henderson County, and the county clerk of Henderson County is hereby authorized to and directed to certify thereto.
We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hang with us, Nick. The next item is rescinding a resolution that was passed in 2011, limiting the type of pipe that the county would use. And at the time, it seemed like a good idea, I'm sure, because it was approved unanimously. But our county engineer, Nick Stallings, is asking for a change of pace here. So, Nick, I'll let you explain it.
Okay, the current resolution in place is using N12 pipe, which is smooth wall inside, corrugated outside, plastic pipe. It's got its definitely uses, and it's got its pros. It also has its cons. The biggest size we can get in that is 60 inch, and after that we got to go to a box culvert or a concrete culvert. Also, some places they had to use a smaller pipe because of the cover height. You got to have required cover height over these before you your road surface, below your road surface. So you can only, say if you only had 2 foot of cover and you really need a 5 foot pipe, you're going to put a 4 foot pipe in. You've got to go with a 4 foot pipe. So it downgrades your capacity of your pipe, obviously. So with our bids that we accepted, a few courts ago, corrugated metal pipe is another option. They can go all the way up to 110 inch pipe, and they can also do equivalent, which what equivalent pipe is essentially a 48 inch, theoretical opening, but it only has like a 37 inch height. So it's essentially elliptical pipe, on its side, and it has the same flow as a 48 inch pipe, but it doesn't require the same amount of cover height. Under the resolution we have in place now, we couldn't use those. Now we'll still want to use our M12 pipes on all the entrances, but when we have cross drains and the cross pipes, those would be a perfect opportunity to use those. So that is more of a, I guess, formality to get rid of the resolution. So we're not totally going to corrugated metal pipe because N12 has its day, has its place, but we don't want to get away from other options we have out there. And also with the elliptical pipe, it actually carries more water at a lower flow than a circle pipe is, because circle pipe is you get halfway the pipe before it makes its maximum flow. Well, elliptical pipe is it has a less rise in the water before it makes its maximum flow. So it's a couple options that makes it better.
Well, Judge, I'd make a motion that we rescind that 2011 kind of pipe, the N12 pipe only, that we would leave more discretion to what Nick just stated.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to rescind that N12 resolution from 2011. Any other questions about this?
I'm going to just real quick, I assume that cost per foot is very similar.
Yes, and actually, depending on its size, you can get corrugated metal cheaper under the lower level and on the upper size.
So more cost effective
Yes,
too.
yes, absolutely.
I thought so, but I wanted to verify.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion?
I'm all for this, but I was just curious, we don't have any other kind of agreements kind of like this in place on any other kind of materials, or?
I'm finding them. I don't.
But if you come across it, be sure to bring them back, because I trust your judgment, and I think this is a great way to improve our drainage.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Without any further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Nick's going to stay up there for one Gonna save the
right.
biggest for last year.
That's right. All right, we got a grader situation. Okay, both of our graders, one of our graders is a 1999. It's got about 18,000 hours on it. Our other grader's a 2006. It's got about 17,000 hours on it. These graders one grader runs the west end of the county, one grader runs the east end of the county. We've got 135 miles of gravel road, so they'll run 6 hours, 6.5 hours a day, 5 days a week, unless we have snow, ice, or crazy water issue with rain or whatever. They're running. So these are pretty important pieces of equipment. Now they've been maintained well. We've done work that we can on them, but now we're at the point over the summer. Last summer, if y'all can recall, we had both of them down at the same time. One had head issues on the engine. One had drive chains on the wheels that went out. They were down about 2-3 weeks. One was down almost a month and a half. That caused a lot of issues. So we're at this point now to where do we keep fixing Old Betsy, or do we look at something else? So what I did was get a couple of quotes. Right now, obviously with the 2006 Cat 140 we have, they cannot get a reman transmission the way it sits. They'll have to take our transmission off, go have it rebuilt, and brought it back in. They're looking about a 2 or 3 month time frame to have that happen. So that would put us April, May time frame before we can take care of the west end of the county. I mean east end of the county. So I know that's probably not a good option. So what I did was I went through the state contracts. The state contracts has the 5 major corporations involved. They have Case, they have Komatsu, they have Deere, they have Volvo, and they have Cat. So what I did was get quotes from every one of them, have them pull off their state contract price, and the 3 that came back to me that were all comparable to what we have now. Number one's the Komatsu. It's a GD 655-7, and it came in at a price of $264,443 as a purchase price. They do not have one in stock, and they're talking a few months down the road before they can get one. Our next option was a John Deere. They had 2 options for us. One was a 770G. It's a 2019 piece of used equipment. It's got 1,200 hours on it at a cost of $254 as it sits, and right now it's available. But it's a used piece of equipment. They also have a brand new one that they have about a 3-month time frame to have it ready to be in our possession. It is a 670G, so a little smaller, and it's a 331,058.57. So it's about 80,000 over what the Komatsu is. And we also went ahead, and then Cat submitted their price for one. They actually have one in stock. It's sitting in Louisville right now. It's a 22 brand new, and they got it before the price quotes went up for the end of the year. Their price is $300,500, and that comes with a 7-year, 6,000-hour powertrain, hydraulics, and tech warranty. So that takes care of our powertrain, the tranny, or our engine, takes care of our hydraulic pumps, our hoses, takes care of our tech, which is our GPS system, our electronics. So it's ready. I mean, we can get this thing squared away and it'll be sitting in our lot in a few days. The other ones are 2-3 months out, which now we have an option that we can go and rent one, but then that actually adds to the cost at the end of the day. If we got to rent one for 2-3 months at $9,000, $10,000 for a grader per month, now we're adding another $30,000, $40,000 to it that we don't have to have with this Cat.
And what was the price again?
The Cat it was $300,500.
Now, here's the interesting thing on this. Later in this session, we're going to be approving the amending in of some revenue, including an unbudgeted payment from the federal flood control program to us for past flood issues of $300,673. Nick did not work that out behind the scenes. That's just the way it happened. We also have some extra funding from some unexpected funding from some other sources. So with that unbudgeted money coming in, we can cover this cost without digging into another part of the budget. And the fact that it's on state contract, let me
Yep.
repeat, it
Yes.
is on state contract.
Yes, everything I pulled today was all state contract, so it wasn't like everybody was bidding to get the best price. This is pulling off a state contract.
And you're going to provide Brenda all the
Absolutely.
documentation that it's on state contract.
Yes, and they also have something that's called Sourcewell, which is another brand of state contract, and the same deal. Everything's all, it's it wasn't like we were breaking the law by the look of these bids. These are all prices come off state contract.
Hey, Nick,
So,
is the old one worth anything?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Or is it worth fixing for a
Right.
spare?
So right now, my we were going to get y'all approval to buy one of these. Our guys that's been in cats ever since they've been running them. They're the steering wheel and joystick. I mean, steering wheel and levers. All right. Now the new ones are starting to move towards a joystick. I'm sure it's not a crazy difference, but I don't drive them. Now they may say, hey, I don't want to use the new ones. But what helps with this cat that's right now available, it is an old steering wheel lever, so it's still what they're used to, so it won't be a big change in the seat going to something new. Now, the old 140 that we have with the down transmission, we got $32,000 to replace that transmission. At that point in time, there is a solid unit. So do we look at replacing, repairing that transmission and then look at maybe getting rid of the older one, the 99, and then using this 140 because it's a little bit bigger. It's got now a new transmission, new drive chains, new, planetary. Over the years, it's got a lot of new parts, right? So do we look at replacing the old one with this one and then surplusing the 120 out? It's always good to have a grader for backup, but it's also a pretty heavy priced machine to sit around if it's not being used all the time. So I'm looking at what would be better for the public or for the our money facet is, do we go ahead and surplus out the older one, bring the newer one in place with the new transmission, and then we'll have a new piece of equipment, and we won't have to worry about this next year, year after with the brand new one again.
I think in the case of your question, maybe have you give some more consideration to that and bring a
Yep.
recommendation on which one you might want to surplus if we agree that buying the new one's the right way to go. Is that acceptable? Let him do a little bit more calculus on that. Getting back to the new grader, any discussion on that? Any thoughts?
I have a question. I've driven Union County a lot of Union County gravel roads. And I've seen they've gone away from a grader and went to it's like a pulled grader. It goes behind a tractor.
Yep, and I set that up with the state about 5 years ago because we ran into this grader situation. They could only afford one grader per section. So I actually got that set up to where we could buy that pull behind grader. Works well, except it has some limitations. Now Union County has now taken over the grader that Henderson had, but
Right.
they have two options. Now that's a pretty cheap option. It's around $14,000-15,000 for the pull behind. The only problem we have is we don't have a spare tractor to use. We would have to drop down because this is daily. It's a 6-7 hour a day deal. So we would either have to buy a new tractor on top of it that would be strictly for this, or we would have to pull down one of our mowers to be our pulling. And you look at our lifespan of these graders. I mean, we're 18, 22 years on our graders, so they're pretty good. They've got good marketability, and they work well. So I don't know. I mean, that's a good opinion. I just don't know if that would be if we could it'd be a selling point for everybody. If we just get rid of the grader and go to pull behind, you'll have a little bit of of learning curve, and it may not have, it doesn't have the same capabilities of a grader. But I mean, I'm all for it for a secondary piece of equipment, but then you have to buy a tractor to get on top of it.
So,
Right.
so how big a tractor you're gonna need to, 115, 130 horse?
Yeah, I think they're using 6110, which,
So
is
you're
what's
about 100.
running. But obviously, you've got to,
Yeah.
and then with the pull behind, some of the discouragement that we heard from a lot of people is you're always looking behind you the whole time, because you got to see where you're at. Now with
Makes
the
your neck
grader,
hurt.
yeah, and with the grader, you're right above the blade the whole time. This 140 is exactly what they've used before. It just go from, only thing difference, it's got def system instead of, pre-def. But it's same lever, same controls, just a newer piece of equipment.
So if we went with the Komatsu, it was what, $125,000 cheaper?
Well, no, not with the new price. We are $45,000 cheaper with the Komatsu.
Okay.
But does it have any of the warranty to go
It
along
does
with it?
not have nearly the warranty. It doesn't
That's
have.
what stood out to me about the Cat was the extensive warranty that it had.
Yeah, right now the Komatsu's got a 3-year or 2,000 hour. It's a
Oh, so
warranty.
So we more than
system.
triple the
Yeah.
hours, yeah. It's no
And-
brainer.
What are we looking, if we rented one, what are we looking at per month to rent?
$97.50 is a deal to work out if we bought Deere's. If we bought the John Deere one.
So
I don't-
10,000 a
Yeah.
month to rent one.
Yep. So you put
So
another
you're right back
30,000.
at the
yeah.
same price as the Cat. And we can have the Cat tomorrow.
Depending on traffic, it may be
That's all I need.
Friday. It could be Friday, depending on traffic.
Maybe we can get the sheriff to escort them in.
There you go.
Don't talk about.
Judge, we need to make a motion on the purchase of the new grader
Yeah, yes.
right now. I move that we buy the new grader.
Second.
The Cat.
The Cat, the
Okay.
Cat.
All right,
At state contract pricing.
absolutely.
Yes. I want to reiterate.
Anything else?
State contract. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? We will be moving the money technically later in this meeting.
And Nick's going to decide on the used ones,
Yes.
I'll second.
What to do, yeah.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you all.
Nick.
And the entire meeting is not devoted to Nick Stallings, just feels that way sometimes.
Thank you, Nick.
He does a lot of important stuff.
He does a good job. Yeah, I agree. Lucky to have
Okay.
him.
Another chance to upgrade some equipment, this time with the sheriff's office. I'm going to ask Sheriff Stoffer to come up. If you recall, maybe a couple meetings ago, he asked for some permission to go out and check some prices on, take some bids on body cams and car cams, and he's done that. And I think you should have the results of those in your packet. I'm bringing it out here, but go ahead, Chip, I'll let you take it.
So we reached out, we didn't do, I guess maybe we did sealed bids, but they came in and we weren't sure what was in the envelope, and we opened the envelope and lo and behold, there were bids. So we got with Kurt and said, if you've opened them, just don't reach out and talk to anybody about it. So we did, and we got 4 back. Utility is a company, Axon is a company, Motorola, and Lenslock are the 4 that we got back. And if you've seen the little spreadsheet, we've reviewed those, and the one that we like the best is Lenslock. It's a smaller company. We've talked to the references, and the reference we spoke to, 1 left Axon and 1 left Motorola, due to price and customer service.
For the record, would you read those bids in real quick?
Yes, utility is total, excuse me, the total for a 4-year contract with utility would be $316,068. Motorola, they sent us a 5-year contract option. We don't believe that that's behooves the sheriff's department, since it's a 4-year position, and I'm not sure that we could even do a 5-year contract. And when we spoke with them after we got the bids, they said, it is what we have. And their Motorola, again, their 5-year total was $331,500. Axon, a 4-year total, was $283,682.30. And LensLock for a 4-year contract was $230,090.
For 25 in-car systems and 25 body cameras.
Correct.
And this was advertised in accordance with all applicable statutes.
Yes, it was. And now, again, once we move forward, we will give Mr. Gold our contract review before we would obviously enter into any type of agreement with any of the companies.
So at this point, we have a couple decisions we can make. We can, if we agree this needs to be done immediately, we have a couple different places to go for the money. In our general fund line items, we have a contingency fund, which now is, I think, stands at $370,000, something along those lines. And LensLock, say at 230 grand, we could pay it out of there. We could pay the whole price up front. We could pay the $62,000, sign the contract and pay the first installment of $62,210, utilizing contingency funds. ARPA money, this is also eligible for use by ARPA funds, and we have, 4.9 million of those at the moment. We could spend it directly out of there. Those are the two places most easily accessed to handle this. The other thing we could do is wait till budget time and do this at the beginning of next fiscal year. The only thing about waiting is how long are these bids
Price
good?
increase.
Typically 30 days from when we got it. The other thing is LensLock is the only vendor that we can get body cameras in a month. We get our in-cars in 2 months, where the other company that we were interested in, Axon, we're looking at 2 months for body cameras and between 15 and 18 months for in-cars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And again, and the reason that we're presenting it now is our current system is malfunctioning, and it's sort of a blended system. Motorola is taking it over, but they can't give us they don't give us a lot of support with it now. We call
This is a need, not
yes,
a
yes.
luxury
There's a
ride.
couple.
To explain that a little bit more, and if Dwight can help too on some of the technical difficulties and
So
failings we're having with the current system.
So our current system, and I'll let Colonel come up here and speak specifically, but we've had a couple issues where our camera system should provide clarity, and they're not, the video's not there. It doesn't stop and start. The video is just not there. So it goes from 3 minutes and it doesn't stop, and all of a sudden it picks up at 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh,
And
wow.
there is nothing there, and that, unfortunately, that 1 minute and 30 seconds
what it
becomes
needs to be.
vital to provide clarity, and we don't have it. But I'll let the Colonel speak.
As
That's very
a
bad.
consumer of that video, and someone that has to deal with when there are sections of it that are just missing, they have an audit trail. They can tell if an officer turns the camera on and off, things like that, and they're seeing that the cameras are not being turned off. It's just the video's not there. The system's not recording it. But the current video is very clear. It's when it works, it's great, and it's essential in 2023 that we have our law enforcement have body cam and dash cam. But when there are things missing, there's certainly in court a whole lot of implication about, oh, it's mysteriously missing or something like that. When it legitimately, you can tell by an audit trail that it was not a deputy stopping or starting something. It was the system, but it's still very hard to defend and doesn't look good. So.
Yeah, and this came about because we were looking at a video where we had an officer get someone out of a car in the Sally Port. There was an incident that happened right after that. So we go back and look at it, and you show the guy getting out the video shows the guy getting out of the car, then all of a sudden it's gone, and he's pulling out on 60 from the Borax Drive right there. We don't know how many times that's happened. We know at least that time. We got another time we suspect it's happened, and he's right. There's no way a deputy can do this. If the deputy shuts off his video, that ends that video, and he turns it right back on again, it would start a whole new video. So we know that's not the case. I've reached out to Motorola WatchGuard about this. They really haven't given me an answer for it. They can't figure out what's happening so far. They said maybe reboot because there's a battery inside of it, but that's not the case because it's not happened since then. And, if the battery was going dead, it would happen several times. So we don't really know how many times this happened. The other thing that I've talked to Mr. Gold about was redaction software. I spoke to him and said we don't really need redaction software. If we don't have to have it, then if we don't have it, we just can say we don't have redaction software and we can just we can't give you the video. I was wrong about that. You told me, you asked me to find that in writing.
I thought you were.
I went and looked for it in writing, and he is correct. Yeah, I believe in 2018 it actually changed. We have to have redaction software.
Explain redaction a little bit.
Okay, like if we go inside of a house, or let's say we go out and work an accident, and somebody wants that video, but there's a juvenile involved. We can't give any video involving juvenile. So we have to be able to redact the face of that juvenile out. Currently, we cannot do that. LensLock, and I don't know how long this will last, they do give us software where we can redact. But they're the only company that you can send them your video, where they have access to your video, and say, I need this redacted, and they do it for you. They have a team that actually does redaction for you.
At no extra charge.
No extra charge. Yeah, and they actually stopped that one time, and a lot of people threw a fit, said, hey, we love that, and they went back to doing it. But that's got to be expensive. I don't know how, but we will have either way, we will have redaction software.
Just
with
to
LensLock.
give context to that, I believe HPD or the city one has somebody on staff
That's correct.
that redacts video all day, every day.
Yes.
So, I mean, it is a very labor-intensive and time-consuming thing. So the fact that this company is willing to do that is a big differentiator there.
Another big key factor is we're wanting to increase the usage of our body cameras. These will have a lot longer battery life, which is be a big help. Another issue we're having is getting videos labeled. These new companies will interface with our CAD system, even if we switch CAD system, which they're looking at doing. We can interface and it drops down the category, so it tells if you're on domestic or criminal call or an accident or traffic stop, and it also drops the case number in there also, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a big deal. It really is.
So will they maintain and keep them all working for us too? That's the contract?
If you're talking about for the redaction?
No,
Good.
yes. They'll provide support if something breaks down. They'll give us 2 on hand, body cameras on hand, and if we have an issue, we send it back, they send it to us, no questions, no costs, no associated with this. Every 30 months, they'll give us new body cameras.
And that's all included in these
That's all
prices.
included in the
That's it.
price.
Okay.
And this is a smaller company, and the references we spoke to all spoke highly of how responsive they were when they had an issue. And again, and these others are big players in technology and law enforcement, and they said that we left because we weren't getting the customer service that we needed.
That's common across public safety. I can vouch for that personally.
And actually, all we got to do is call them and tell them the camera's broke, and they would start sending us one right away. We won't wait till we get to send the broke one back to them.
My only question is there any benefit to paying it all in one sum versus paying it yearly? Because if there's not a benefit, why would we, that's my just question to us as a body.
It can be simpler for budgeting, just to
Okay.
take care of it all at once, but I understand your point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's an option.
Yeah.
The ongoing $55,960, is that merely them deferring the cost to us, or is that their actual kind of annual maintenance fee after you initially buy the stuff?
That's the annual maintenance fee, because we asked if we decided that we continue it, and LensLock was the only company that said, if you stay with us, that's going to be the cost for year 5 and year 6. And we're going to just give you new equipment.
That's pretty solid.
Every 30 months, we'll give you new equipment.
Do you see a downside for paying it off up front? The only thing is, we've given them their money, then, we're relying on them to follow through for the next 4 years.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, and again, in the chiefs and sheriffs that we've spoke to, I'm telling you, again, it's hard to really get a read when you don't know them, but they were both said that these folks have, what they've said they would do, they have done. We will be the first
Means a lot.
LensLock customer in Kentucky. So, to me, being the first in a state means that they're going to go out, in my mind, they'll go out of their way to make sure that we're happy because they want to be able to
Agreed,
use
the
us
PR,
as a reference.
And to go along with what he said, one sheriff said, I think their customer service is great. We haven't needed them. They call us like once a month just to check on us. I mean, and he said, another one said, this is not only the best camera system I've had, it's the best company I've ever dealt with any type of product. I mean, they really came highly recommended.
I think one thing we might think about is going ahead, if we want to do this, paying the initial price, see how it goes, and also get with Treasurer Ryder to see how, whether there's any kind of technical difference in making annual payments after the initial year, or say in year 2, paying off the rest out of ARPA funds. We still are trying to figure out how the state wants us to spend these funds, the mechanism, and I don't know that we still have quite a clear answer. However, I have some questions in my mind about ARPA funds for maintenance versus material, and also whether, and this is getting way down in the weeds on ARPA funds, but because we're of a certain population, we're under a certain population, we were told we could merely amend all that money in as lost revenue and spend it any way we thought was appropriate. But we can't get the state auditors to tell us that exactly. So, all to say, there may be a technical reason we would want to pay it all up front.
Right.
And we will work on that. I'll work with Brenda on that.
Also, we'll have to look at their contract. If it does, once you get into the details, it talks about it being an annual fee or something like that. I believe I'm correct, Brenda, that we can't pay in advance for things that we haven't been invoiced for, right? So
For things we haven't been invoiced for.
right, so we would have to see exactly the details of how their contract is set up.
So it would be my recommendation, if we all understand this is an urgent need, and in this day and age, properly functioning body and car cams are urgent need. The easiest place to get this done is out of ARPA funds. It'll have the least impact. I like to keep the contingency line item fairly healthy heading into the last quarter, because stuff, as our veteran magistrates know, stuff always comes up, any thoughts about that? Any questions about that, or discussion, opinions? I would say let us get with our heads together with Brenda to see what maybe behooves us. But I guess what I need is a vote to let them move ahead with their choice of Lenslock.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to accept Lenslock's bid. Do you feel like you need to review it any more to make a recommendation?
No, I do not, I think.
Okay. So, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. We will work with the sheriff's office to determine the best way to finance this and get back with you, let you know. And Godspeed. So you can.
I'll just stay.
Okay, that's right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. The sheriff's monthly reports and tax settlements are in your packet. These are the regular monthly tax reports. Unless Sheriff's Officer has anything to add to these?
Just the tax settlements, the reason they're a little more complicated for the senior folks is that we've had a change of administration. So there's some for Sheriff Crafton and some for me. So we'll have that until probably after April.
Probably.
I have reinforcements.
State Auditor's Office is
just to stand and give me reassurance.
There you go. Yeah.
I move to accept them.
Second.
We've had a motion and a second to approve the monthly reports and the tax settlements. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gold, your report.
Judge, I've got several checks today. First, check for salaries, FICA, and retirement, $4,439.64. Health insurance, $979. Flow through from the city, $458.33. Jail fees collected, $467.13 and $75. Interest in the amount of $11.34, $3.78, and $7.56, bringing today's total to $6,441.78. And the fiscal year total to date, $144,499.83. Angela's going to hand that here.
We have a motion to accept.
So move.
County attorney payments with Angela just handed me $6,000+. That must have been fun.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, I'm going to call Treasurer Ryder up, and we're going to take care of some financial business here. The first is the budget amendment, which has to do with the money, the unexpected revenue, unbudgeted revenue, I should say, that came in earlier. And Treasurer Ryder, I'll let you have the floor.
This is the first reading of Budget Amendment Number 5 of the current fiscal year. Total of this amendment is $386,431. This is amending into the current year budget from the road fund FEMA receipts of $300,673. Road fund truck license distribution, $31,274. Road fund interest, $17,300. Amending into state grants fund, proceeds from the recreational trails grant, $37,184. The corresponding expenses for these would be road fund, road maintenance and equipment, $349,247. State grants fund, other recreation programs, $37,184. The total of this amendment is $386,431.
So it's always good to get unexpected, unbudgeted revenue. And even though the amount of the grader that Nick is buying is a little less than this, $349,247, having some extra money in there for these maintenance costs would be good. We can move it later if we need to, he can. But that's a good place to park this money on the appropriations side.
Agreed.
So entertain a motion to approve this amendment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Transfers, there is one transfer which is as presented, and this is redistributing the appropriation within the existing budget. Also, there is a cash transfer of $175,368.25. And what this is moving from receipts accepted into the general fund, from the general fund to the opioid settlement fund, which is establishing a separate bank account and fund for the national opioid settlement distributions, and this is suggested by the CAICO Legal Counsel.
And we're going to be getting ongoing payments from the opioid settlements. We're not quite there are multiple settlements that are going to be paying into this. We don't have a handle yet on just how much that's going to be. One settlement has given us
Out to 2036.
Schedule, approximately $40,000 a year.
Approximately.
The second one, we don't have that schedule yet. It could be a heck of a lot more money. It might not be, but we did need to set up a separate fund for this money coming in. So that's what this is. Any other questions about transfers?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any claims?
I do have claims. From the general fund to Magistrate Berry and Magistrate Southard, $4,983.24 each. This is for the training incentive for calendar year 2023 and is to come from Magistrate's Training Incentive Appropriation Line. To Renisa Abner, $4,983.24. This is for the training incentive for calendar year 2023 and is to come from the Clerk Training Incentive Appropriation Line. To Lowe's in the amount of $922.22. This is for miscellaneous supplies for courthouse repairs and is to come from Renewals and Repairs Courthouse Appropriation Line. To Visa in the amount of $1,109.39. This is for fiscal court, judge, and county engineer meeting expenses and is to come from the respective appropriation lines. To CW Government, $2,034.82. This is for 2 scanners for the clerk's recording department and is to come from maintenance, repairs, equipment appropriation line. To Visa in the amount of $2,040.95. The majority of this is to come from courthouse renewals and repairs appropriation line. From the jail fund to Advanced Document Solutions, this is for copier leases. The amount is $1,152.14 and is to come from the data processing equipment appropriation line. To U.S. Bank, which is the credit card, $3,188.42. The majority of this is to come from equipment repairs and cleaning supplies appropriation lines. From the grant fund to Liberty Tire Recycling, $4,000. This is for the use of the waste tire grant proceeds and is to come from that appropriation line. Also to Liberty Tire Recycling from the road fund, $2,414. This is for the additional tires accepted by the recycling and is to come from the recycling building, repairs, and maintenance appropriation lines.
Judge, I move we pay the claims.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. I know of no old business, unless I'm missing something. Would anybody from the audience like to say anything for good of the county? Hearing none, I'll go around the horn real quickly. Magistrate Southard.
Just want to say congratulations, Angela. It's a big deal. A lot of kids in your school, and they picked you. That says a lot about you. And if you can pay attention in here, you got it made. But roads are wet, but they're good. So we definitely need the grader. So that's all's good in District 3.
Thank you. Magistrate Tompkins.
Yeah, I just want to echo Magistrate Southern and say congratulations, well done. Keep working hard, being kind and respectful. That'll carry you throughout any endeavor in life. We're super proud of you and glad to see good young people like you. So enjoy your day. Make sure you get lots of good lunch out of him, and all's well in District 2.
Magistrate Putman.
Congratulations, Angie. Again, and congratulations to your parents. I mean, it's a pretty big honor. I know you're extremely proud. We'll have the opportunity to talk more. I'll try to be quiet and let y'all do all the talking. I'll listen at lunch. And Judge, other than that, one thing, what's the status on Jailer Todd?
Great question.
I
Understand he's beginning to visit the office. He's home and has made a couple of visits to the jail, and I hope it gets better.
Yeah, well, we want to wish him all the best as well, and all is good in District 4, Judge.
I've been called worse. Magistrate Starks.
I want to echo what's already been said. Congratulations to you, and thanks for paying such close attention to all that's been happening here this morning. And also want to congratulate your parents, and I know your educators are very proud of you. I'm jealous. I've been through your school, and boy, I wish I had a nice facility like that when I was growing up. Most of my schools were built back in the Reconstruction of the Civil War. And so I really look forward to hearing more out of you in the years to come, and who knows, maybe someday you'll be back sitting in this room somehow, maybe at this podium. So, and I'll just say also, happy Valentine's, everybody, and and thanks for watching, and thanks for all our staff and keeping us up to date. I think you can tell they're keeping a good watch on how the taxpayer dollar is being spent, and that's what our charge is, and that's what we'll continue to do. And everything else is good.
Thank you. Magistrate Berry.
Well, it's easy to go last. Everything's been said, I think. Congratulations, Angela. Eat a lot of lunch. Butch, he buys well. I've ate lunch with him, so just get all you want. Where are you going? Have you decided? Not yet. Well, pick a good one. All right, but thanks. Family, thanks for being here. Got a great young lady there. I know you're proud of her, and we all are. So I think everything, and all that grader is for the east side of the county, which is, okay, Tim, you remember that, yeah. So, and let's all remember Jana Gatton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess everybody knew that. She passed away, city officer, retired, back working, passed away yesterday, so keep her in our thoughts. Thank you.
Mr. Gold?
Thank you for saying something about Jana. Yeah, she will definitely be missed. She had a heck of a sense of humor. Angela, congratulations. You're the Judges Scholar from Jefferson, which means you're the best of the best, because Jaguars are number one, right? We're number one. So congratulations. Today is your day. Forget about whole Valentine's, anything like that. It has been declared by the judge in this fiscal court that today is your day. Nobody else in the county can say that, and it's well-deserved, so congratulations. Judge, one thing we talked about at the County Attorneys Association conference last week was this opioid settlement money coming in, and a lot of counties have indicated that they're kind of getting a lot of people in the treatment world, in different businesses. Everybody's coming with their hand out because they know that money has gone to these counties, and there was a lot of discussion about how to best spend this money intentionally in counties to where it's not just, here and gone. This opioid crisis did not happen overnight. It's not going to get fixed overnight. It's going to take both a mixture of treatment and prevention, and there are statutes that limit what this can be spent on. And a lot of these folks that are hitting up these counties with their hands out or want to just make it easy. Oh, give us all the money, we'll fix all the effects of the opioid crisis. That's not going to happen. So a lot of counties are looking at creating some sort of committee or commission to really drill down on some of these issues, look at what the money can be spent on, and look at ways within their county where they can be very intentional about both prevention and dealing with the effects of opioids. And I would recommend that Henderson look at forming something like that as we go forward. And once we have a picture of exactly how much money we're going to have available, and then dealing with the Attorney General's office on how that can be spent, because there's a statewide commission that will be doling out some of those grants as well. Some of it is going to come directly to the county, some will come to this state commission, and it will be earmarked for certain regions. So there's a lot of moving parts to it. So I think it's something that if we kind of do some thinking about it and not be like some of these counties said, they're just giving money to the first people that show up on their door, I think that would be better for the county in the long run.
And speaking of that conference you were at, you were honored at that conference. Can you remind the court your award, please?
The County Attorneys Association Member of the Year. It was quite an honor. Thank you. It's a reflection of a very good staff that makes me look a whole lot better than I am.
And I know that is a very gracious thing to say, but the fact remains you're one of the very, very, very best county attorneys in the state. And we say all the time about how talented our team is here at the county, because many of the elected officials and department heads are very prominent in their state associations and across the state. Steve is a perfect example of that. It's not unusual for me to call him on some other matter, and he's driving to Frankfort or Lexington to help raise the newest round of baby prosecutors, as he calls them. They would have no better instructor and role model than Steve Gold. So congratulations, well deserved. Angela, congratulations to you. Oscar, Angelina, congratulations. Felicidades, it's wonderful. And I don't know, you do not know where you're going to lunch yet, eh? What's her favorite place to go eat? Besides Mom's kitchen table? It's going to be your lunch, and again, congratulations. Hope to see you as Master Stark said, maybe one day you'll be sitting in this chair. Always. Anyway, thank you for mentioning Miss Gatton. Great lady, great family. Angie Girton, her partner, well known to the fiscal court, former
Yep.
Humane Society director, great lady, and a lot of people went out of their way to do the very best they could for Jana, and it was great to watch. Law enforcement community is really relatively small, and they do the group hug when it's needed in their community pretty quickly and fiercely, and it was, I saw that firsthand with Janice, so it was quite something. But that's all I have for good of the county, and we are now going to, I need a motion to go into executive session. The matter is going to be regarding potential litigation, and I forget the particular KRS, but
61.8101C, discussion of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of the county.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
The motion is second. I do not anticipate a vote coming out of this executive session. So for all intents and purposes, our meeting is over. But at this point, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll go into executive session. And done by 11:30, I believe. I hope.